Nov Clipper, hi friends, Darth Momo here, and happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. We're going to talk about Tales of the Underworld, all 6 episodes. Real quick though, if you haven't already, go check out my fan edit, Hope, the Life of Luke Skywalker, that I just released on Friday. I put a lot of work into it over the course of several days, so go check it out. I think it's a really good video. Now that that's been said, let's get into Tales of the Underworld. So, 3 episodes about Ventress, 3 episodes about Cad Bane. I'm a little interested in why they put the Cad Bane episodes second when chronologically they go before the Ventress ones. Normally they seem to have kept chronological on these, so I thought that was kind of interesting. The Ventress episodes were, I think, better than the Ahsoka, Barriss, and Morgan Elsbeth episodes we've previously gotten with Tales. They were entertaining. I did kind of roll my eyes at the whole side quest thing in the second episode, but I did also like that they were linear in a sense. They weren't just kind of 3 random stories, like they were more or less linear. But I mean, it was cool to see that they pretty much acknowledged Dark Disciple and they started right where the book left off. I think if you haven't read the book, you're going to be pretty confused, but if you have read the book, obviously you know what's going on. Although, to me, from what we've gotten with Bad Batch and what we've gotten with Tales of the Underworld, to me it hasn't justified bringing Asajj Ventress back from the dead. I really liked how her story ended up in Dark Disciple. I thought it was a fitting way for her character to go out. This is obviously the ending for Asajj Ventress that George Lucas had involvement in and signed off on, and I think actually these episodes were written by his daughter. I think she had a hand in a lot of the Ventress stuff post season 3 and onward in the Clone Wars. So it's a little frustrating that was undone, and I just don't see the reasoning why. There's some cases where like a character resurrection I think can be justified, and I think Darth Maul is probably the really only solid example Star Wars actually has of a justified character resurrection. Ventress, I mean, what was the point? Like, I was a little confused when Talzin was like, oh, your heart's desire, that's your price for coming back to life. Like, what? So she can't be with Quinlan and that's why she gets to come back to life? Or, like, that felt very ambiguous, especially because then she spent the 3 episodes kind of wanting Quinlan, and then at the end she's like, no, I'm good, I'm gonna let go. But there's no real, I'm guessing she's gonna keep kind of helping the hidden path, but like, what's the end goal for Ventress? Yes, I know there was talk of bringing her back before this with Resistance, but still, like, what's the end goal with Ventress now? The way she went out before was good, and I think Ventress coming back just has a problem, or shows the problem of her, you know, of Disney just, not necessarily Disney, but Lucasfilm, I guess you could say, of just having problems accepting ends and letting things go. Like, there's been so many examples over the last 10 years where something should have ended or could have ended, or it had a fitting end, and they didn't let the end be the end. So we'll see. I don't know if they have future plans for Ventress. I can't imagine this is going to be the last time we see the character, but I just can't understand what in the future was worth bringing her back, because what we got so far wasn't. That being said, I mean, there was some cool moments. It was cool to see Highsinger again. He's a fun droid. It's a fun character to have fun with on missions and all that, when he does his little spinny thing with the guns. I didn't mind the Jedi guy. He was fine. He was kind of cool. But they were entertaining, but they weren't like awesome or amazing stories. As for the Cad Bane stuff, I mean, these ones were okay too. I think overall I prefer Tales of the Underworld to Tales of the Empire, but the problem with Cad Bane's episodes is, I think, like, did we really need to see Cad Bane running around with his little, like, 9-year-old friend and eating candy from the grocery store? Like, did we really need that? But I think the biggest problem for me with the Cad Bane episodes is it shows Cad Bane's mentor, and he pretty much is just like another iteration of Cad Bane. He wears the hat, he wears it the same way, he's got the same kind of scar on his nose, he does the toothpick thing. And to me, this kind of has a similar effect to what the Morgan Elsbeth episodes in Tales of the Empire did with Thrawn. Like, I really love the idea of the TIE Defender being Thrawn's kind of, brainchild, and that Tales of the Empire robbed that and gave that to Morgan Elsbeth. So any cool factor that Cad Bane had, from his look, his mannerisms, his appearances, now we learn that it's just pretty much an imitation of his mentor. And to me, that kind of strips some of the cool factor away from Cad Bane. So I'm not really happy about that. I mean, the episodes themselves were fine, but they were predictable. Like, you knew from the start, okay, this is clearly going to end in a showdown between the two. They're going to end up on opposite sides of the law, and Cad Bane's obviously going to be the one that comes out on top. This is clearly a prequel. Cad Bane's still around. We've never heard of this other guy before. It's pretty clear where this is going to go. So it was predictable at best, or at worst, it was, well, let's be honest, it was predictable. I think I'll give Tales of the Underworld and all 6 episodes just combined, I think I'll give it a 6.5. It was entertaining, I guess, but we didn't need it. We absolutely did not. And in the Ventress case, like, we really shouldn't have gotten it. You know, if they just made this about Cad Bane, you know, whatever. You know, I don't think Cad Bane's, well, I mean, I guess it does kind of do some damage, so I don't know. To me, the Tales episodes have been a letdown. We've got 6 different stories, and I would say only one of them was really worth it. And I mean, with Cad Bane too, like, why do we have to do an origin story? Did we need an origin story? Does this really change our perception of the character? It kind of just shows, hey, he got caught up in the wrong people when he was young, and then he became Cad Bane. Like, what does that do? What does that add to the character, really? I think, if anything, if they really wanted to do Cad Bane, they should have done the Boba Fett episodes. They should have just adapted that from the Clone Wars, because that way you get to explore Cad Bane a bit more. But it's giving episodes that we know exist that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise, and we want. And on top of that, it doesn't necessarily undermine some of the characters' traits and appeals to us, because we don't necessarily dive into his origins, but we could still kind of explore him more through the way that he trains and teaches Boba Fett. And that would also fill in some gaps for Book of Boba Fett, because let's be realistic. Unless you're a hardcore fan who's looked into the cancellation of the Clone Wars, when Boba Fett and Cad Bane show up together on the Book of Boba Fett and they reference their history, you have no idea what they're talking about unless you've done your history. If you just watch the Clone Wars just as a casual fan, and you don't know anything about the production of the Clone Wars, you have no idea what they're talking about, because they were never on screen together. So that's my thoughts on Tales of the Underworld. Like I said, it was entertaining, I guess, but we really didn't need it. I'm going with a 6.5. But happy Star Wars Day nonetheless. Of course, let's just enjoy Star Wars the way you want to enjoy it. Nothing wrong with that. I want to go watch A New Hope a little while later. And of course, please check out my fan edit. A lot of work went into that. Otherwise, we'll see you back Tuesday for Andor. And I've got another upcoming video Friday that I think you guys will enjoy. Otherwise, thank you guys for joining in. Darth Momo out. And may the Force be with you. Always.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, comment down below and hit that like button. Oh, and check out some of my other videos. I'm sure you'll find them a delight.